Hello, everyone. Welcome to the AI Meetup powered by GeekyAnts. And hello to all the online viewers. I appreciate you guys coming in on a Saturday and giving us your valuable time. I'm Sana. I'm the community executive here at GeekyAnts. Grow internally and externally. If you have something to talk about or you have a project to showcase, you know whom to reach out now. So this is the first AI-centered meetup that GeekyAnts is hosting. Let me tell you a quick overview of what GeekyAnts is. We are a product design and development studio that turns ideas into reality. We have built some great products. You might have heard Native Base. It's a UI component library, and we are also close to launching our another open source project called GlueStack. It's a full stack framework, so do check it out. I'm sure you'll be bamboozled about it. Because of these open source projects that we have built, we also do a lot of open source contributions. And we are also the core contributors of React Native, and React and React Native. Uh, because of these contributions, we attend a lot of conferences, both national and international. And yeah, and that also helps us to host these great meetups. Um, because we host these great meetups, we have a lot of strong communities base. We have a strong hold in React Native community, and Flutter. That has also led us to some awesome partnerships. We have partnered up with Vercel, GitHub, and Hasura. I'll let the keynote speaker talk about it more. So let's talk about today's agenda. So today's first speaker is Priyamvada. She's a software engineer here at GeekyAnts, and she'll be talking about building intelligent chatbots. The second speakers we have is Puja Agarwal and Sandeep Kumar Srivastava. They have built this amazing project called Tonic, and they'll be sharing more about it. And our last speaker for the day is Kartik Mandaville. He'll be talking about Albus, and we'll be ending the evening with a panel discussion. So let's get into the most important thing, Wi-Fi. Please connect to GeekyAnts guest. Password is guest capital G at 1234. If you happen to lose this information, we'll be able to let you know this later. Let's set some ground rules for the event. Do not use any hate speech and inappropriate comments. Keep it light and breezy. Be respectful and refrain from using strong words. This is a space for growth and learning, so let's promote that. Get to know your fellow attendees and speakers and network. Keep Please keep your questions for the panel discussion ready towards the end. If you need, you can use your phone to write the questions down, or if you need a paper or pencil, pen, anything, we can provide that. Try to maintain silence when a speaker is on the stage giving the talk. Let's all be more understanding about it. And yeah, let's get the event started. Let me call upon Gaurabh Chakraborty, our keynote speaker. Please lead us into the world of AI.
I'm audible? Great. So, guys, good afternoon to you all. I hope you all have had your food and then came over here. That also means that I don't want you guys to sleep. So, I'll try to keep you guys engaged all the time. So basically, I take care of the whole QA team here at GeekyAnts. It's been only around a year. I joined GeekyAnts, and we've done a lot of work. A couple of things with respect to AI as well. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Um, so, I mean, before jumping into the topic, I would like to ask you guys a question. Let me see how many of you can actually get it right. What do you think the total number of devices which are currently in the market that is using AI? Any numbers? um, numbers. No, across the globe, I said. So, sorry, I also thought it can be million, but the answer was by 2021 it was 4.2 billions, and by 2024 they are expecting it to twice the rate, which would be 8.4. So when we actually talk about AI powered devices, right, we are just not talking about the mobile phones. There are other things also that we don't, you know, uh, those devices doesn't come under our mind at point of time when we talk about AI. Like, let's say Chat GPT, it's only laptop or mobile device. It's where that you use, nowhere else. But uh, crazy it is, guys. I mean, it's been used in so many different places, so many different ways. It just, I mean, I feel mind blown every single day when I see something new has been developed using ChatGPT or OpenAI or any LLM. Let's say. Okay, let's. How many of you guys remember this picture? Any idea? If you guys are really tech enthusiast, or I would say, if you guys really love AI, sorry. Yes. So this was the breakthrough, which was the first image which was generated with the text using DALI, right? Anyone knows the text which was written and this image was produced? An astronaut riding a horse on moon, and this was the result. So this is how it all started, actually, and this was, I would say, I won't say that AI was not being implemented before that. It was there, but when this came out, because of this, everything just became viral. Everywhere it was ChatGPT, AI, AI, AI. But people were not knowing what actually AI is. Or let's say even today, people don't understand the difference between AI and ML, right? I'll not get into it because I don't have time, obviously. This is a graph which shows the user acceptance rate. So let's say Google Translate. It took 78 months. That's months, right? To reach 100 million users. And you compare that with ChatGPT, 2 months. So uh, you can understand how it has evolved or how people have accepted it over the period of time. How we started. So if you see 26th November, I was just having a random conversation with Sanket, who's our CEO. So he just asked me about AI. If you have worked on anything with respect to AI or GPT, I said just because of previous image, I said yeah, I have actually explored because that point of time I did apply for the beta program, and luckily I got it through. But I never explored the coding or the other part. I always used to play around with the image, Gandhiji riding bike and stuff, and it used to produce images. So this was the start, and this also shows that I mean, I really admire Sanket on this part that he's always ahead of time. And 26th was the date when we were talking, and 30th was the date when it was officially open to all. Oh, I mean, ChatGPT was made open to all, right? Uh, so, as of now, what we have done using ChatGPT, there are multiple things, not just this. I'm just talking about the testing part, let's say, because I take care mostly the testing. So if a tester has to write test cases, then do the testing, then submit the test reports, it takes a lot of time. Uh, where we have already created a couple of things, which automatically creates the test case, executes them, and then the last one that you are seeing, that's for load testing basically. This is already being implemented across our projects. So because of this, the delivery time has reduced a lot, and even the quality of the delivery has increased. There are test cases or scenarios which we never thought of, but ChatGPT gave us those ideas. Right. Now, what is our goal? Our vision. This is what our vision is, to take care of the whole STLC, to be automated. Right? People should come down to our platform. They should just explain us about their product and what all they need. So let it be security, performance, functional, non-functional, pen testing. Every single thing would be done automatically, and you will be getting the reports over your mail. अभी काम कर रहे हैं क्या? अभी काम कर रहे हैं. Okay, so that's the goal. By the way, we are halfway through to it. In the previous slide, I did show you guys a couple of uh, images which has already been present, and we are already using it. And the goal or the target is in coming 3 months, it should be up and running. Our own product from the QA side. That, I mean, since I didn't had much time, so I had to wrap it up. That's the conclusion part where people have been, I would say, having this question in their mind that ChatGPT will steal our job. I would say if people know how to make use of it, the quality of work will improve rather than getting our jobs lost. Right? The productivity, that will improve. If you don't, I mean, if you can't cope up with the market, then definitely it's going to be a difficult thing for you guys. By the way, this is something which was written by ChatGPT, not me. All right, I guess that's pretty much from my side. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Gaurav, for telling us so many things that we are doing with AI. I think it's time to call upon a first speaker for the Priyamvada. I'll give a quick overview of her. She's a software engineer here at GeekyAnts, and she's doing a lot of amazing things with AI already. Unfortunately, she's joining us online, so we'll just give a quick 5 minutes until we are on. Hi, Priyamvada. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. So,
Hello. Hi. How have you been today?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So we have a lot of people here waiting to hear your talk. So Priyamvada, her goal is to contribute to the advancement of AI, and I think we are all here to witness you doing that today. The stage is yours, Priyamvada. Go ahead.
I hope I am audible. So, am I audible?
Uh, yes, you are audible.
Okay, okay. All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. Today we will be talking about building intelligent chatbot and enhancing user experience with natural language processing. So, let me introduce myself. I am Priyamvada. I have been working in GeekyAnts for past 3.5 years as a software engineer, and my main focus of area is artificial intelligence and machine learning. So let me introduce chatbots. In today's world, chatbots have become increasingly important in various industries, including e-commerce, customer support, healthcare, and many more. So before we dive into chatbots, let's understand some keywords like what is artificial intelligence, machine learning, natural language processing, and what are chatbots. So yeah. So, artificial intelligence is a computer system that helps us do works that requires human intelligence, and machine learning is a subset of it. Machine learning helps us understand patterns based on algorithms. We can train our machine learning based on basically three types. So, machine learning is of three types: supervised machine learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. Supervised machine learning is a type of machine learning where we have the data with proper annotations and labels, which basically means we have a predefined outputs what we want. Whereas unsupervised learning tries to find patterns in data set where we don't have an annotated data set and we don't know what the output will be. The machine learning tries to find patterns in the data set. And coming to natural language processing, it is also a part of machine learning where we use natural language to interact with the computer. We use various natural language processing techniques, which we will be discussing further. And one of the applications of natural language processing is chatbots. So, chatbots is a software program which helps us interact with the users, get user queries, understand the text, and provide contextually appropriate responses. Now, let's dive a bit into the evolution of chatbots. So, chatbots have come a long way since its starting in the 1960s. Eliza was the first chatbot that was developed, and that was developed to showcase a psychotherapist. It acted as a psychotherapist to give answers. But after 1960s, the evolution of chatbots have become increasingly fast, and in the 1990s, we can see that we got chatbots like Parry or Jabby Walker. These were quite popularized at the time. And coming to 2000s, we got chatbots like Alice and Smarted Child that was used in instant messaging all over the world. And with the evolution of voice assistants like Siri and uh, voice assistant, we have seen the things like Siri and Amazon Alexa and Google assistants. These are some amazing examples of chatbots which use voice assistants as well, which we are witnessing right now. Now let's discuss the types of chatbots. So basically, chatbots are created by two types. One is rule-based chatbots, and the second is self-learning chatbots. Rule-based chatbot use a set of predefined rules, and they are quite restrictive when it comes to outcomes. So, rule-based chatbots have quite a lot of limitations as well as advantages. When coming to advantages, it is simple, easy to implement, and if we have a straightforward task, then it will be quite useful. So, for example, here we can see if a user asks, "What are your store hours?" A rulebot chatbot can understand the context and give the examples that our store hours are Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. but the limitations comes when the queries are ambiguous. If a customer is having a query that does not have a clear meaning, it is a longer sentence, or it is not a predefined scenario, then the problem arises in rule based chatbot. It is unable to understand the context, hence it will give a predefined answers, we are not sure about what you are saying, or whatever we have put the default answer. So this is quite rigid and constrained. So coming to the next one, self-learning chatbot. Self-learning chatbot uses machine learning and improves its performance over time. It learns patterns based on user interactions and inputs and increases its performance. It is able to adapt and generate responses based on the patterns in data. It is quite flexible. It is able to handle wider range of queries, and it can give more personalized answers. For example, here we can see if a user asks, I need help finding a restaurant in this area. The chatbot is replying, based on your preferences and past interactions, I recommend trying out this restaurant on this place. So it has gone through your past interactions. It knows what your preferences are, and based on that, it is giving answer. While rule-based chatbot is unable to do so. That's where machine learning comes, and its important and importance in natural language processing comes here. But self-learning chatbot also has some limitations. To create a self-learning chatbot, we need a substantial amount of initial training data. Once we have done training, it needs to be continuously updated to ensure that its performance is accurate and up to date, because new technologies keep coming day by day. And another huge problem is data privacy and security. So if a person is giving their all preferences and experience to the self-learning chatbot, a data leakage problem can come here. For this, the developers or whoever is creating the chatbot needs to ensure that proper security measures has been taken during creation of the chatbot, so that data privacy issue doesn't happen. So what is the role of natural language processing in chatbot? To do that, first let's understand what is natural language processing and what it does. So, natural language processing, as we discussed, is a subfield of artificial intelligence. It focuses on the interaction between the computer and its user, a human, in human languages. So, it plays a crucial role in building chatbot and understanding and interpreting data. It does so by various techniques like text processing, tokenization, part of speech tagging, name entity recognition, and sentiment analysis. So, what does these terms mean? So, coming to text processing means cleansing and formatting text data for analyzing. So, whatever data we get, it is not always clean data. It has a lot of problems, like it may have multiple punctuation, unnecessary characters, or stop words, which we would not like to train our model on. So, text processing helps in that step. Tokenization simply means that separating each words, breaking down text into its words, and facilitating further analysis to be done on those depending on those words, so that the chatbot or the model can understand what's the meaning of each word. Part of speech tagging, Part of speech tagging means assigning grammatic tags like noun, adjectives, and words to those texts, so that we can understand the syntactic meaning of the sentences that the user is providing. Now comes name entity recognition. This has been very useful in today's world because it helps us identify and categorize name entities. For example, names, locations, organization. If you give a line to a chatbot saying that I would like to go this restaurant at this place, or something which includes location names, it will automatically recognize those texts, and it will be able to analyze data based on that. Natural language processing also includes sentiment analysis. It means the analyzing the sentiment or emotion of the text that have been provided. Like, is it a positive text, neutral, or negative text? A simple example would be, if you say, I am feeling really sad today. So the chatbot can respond that I am sorry to hear that. It knows that it is a negative sentiment based on the sentiment analysis that has been done. So it is asking, is there anything specific you would like to talk about that I can assist with you? So sentiment analysis works in such ways. Now comes GPT-4 and OpenAI, the technology behind most advanced chatbots. Now, the introduction to transformer based models like GPT. GPT has emerged as a backbone of chatbots and large language models. It has helped us create advanced chatbot technologies. It is a state of art technology language model, and it has been created by OpenAI. The good thing is here is it uses unsupervised learning. It does not have an annotated created data set. It uses huge amount of books, articles, text, websites from the internet to train itself and find pattern in those data sets. It the GPT-4 model is trained on huge amount of vast amount of data set, and we do not need any human annotation, and we can host it privately also if we have data security issues and such. It utilizes a huge amount of transformer based model, which is a huge neural network that helps models understand patterns in the text. So here's an example that has been created by GPT-4. What are the best hiking trails in the area? The area offers stunning hiking trails such as forest parks. It is able to give answers. The main base of GPT-4 is it is able to predict the next word based on the text it has been trained on. So it basically works as a next word predictor, which is trained on huge dataset and has learned the weights of each dataset and is able to predict our answers. Industries leveraging the power of chatbot. So there are multiple industries that are using chatbots these days, and they have seen multiple growth in their marketing. For example, e-commerce websites now use chatbot for customer inferences. They can give recommendations based on the previous purchases that you have made. For example, if sometimes you buy on Amazon, then it can say that the product you have buy, other customers have bought these products along with this, so they are also e-commerce comes. If you go and ask that I need a customer service, my product is not delivered yet. So in this way, e-commerce websites are using chatbots. Customer service is the prime example of chatbot because human resources are not so much available everywhere. So for automating tasks, even in the simple tasks, the customer service have been using chatbots. Healthcare is immensely using AI and especially chatbot for customer interaction. The patients can go and type their symptoms and problems, and the chatbots can recommend which kind of specialist the person has to go and contact. In human resources also, uh, the if person doesn't know what articles or what rules apply to them, they can go and ask human resources about um, their queries. We have actually experimented with human resources chatbot called uh, what human resources, I think. Yeah. So travel industries, there are multiple industries that has been continuously using chatbot, and chatbots uh, challenges and limitations of current AI. So here comes the problem that what's happening with chatbot. Context understanding. If a person is giving small sentences, then everyone is able to understand. Even rule based can understand. Chatbots can understand to some limit that what the user is asking. But as long as the sentences get long, there is a problem of memory. The, the first word should be associated with the last word, and in that manner, the response should be created. But on rule based or simple chatbots, that is not happening. For that, transformer based large language models are trained. Still, there are some problems with context understanding. If there is ambiguity in the sentence writing, everyone is not perfect in writing sentences. They can write something which does not make much sense. Still, the AI has to understand what the person is trying to say, make sense out of it, remove the bizarre or nonsensical responses from the text, and real time learning should be there. If the chatbot is responding and talking with the user, then whatever the user is saying from last 3 4 lines, also the problem they have, if it in sense of a customer service, the AI should understand what context the user is talking about, and there should be a long term memory. And the biggest problem is potential for misuse. As mentioned earlier, if you are giving your personal information, then there is a privacy and security issues, and your data can be misused in other ways. For that, proper measures has to be taken. Future direction and potentials. Research continuously happening in chatbot, and soon the chatbot is going to become so easy to understand that everyone can be able to use that in a very easier manner in every languages. There will not be much problems with that. Context understanding will be there, personalization will be there, and there are advances continuously made in AI because of the large language models. So impact on society and ethical consideration. Societal impacts on chatbot we have to consider, like job displacement and creation. As soon as the ChatGPT model launched, there was a lot of concern in internet that there might be loss of jobs because of that. Because, for example, the software engineer job, coding jobs, ChatGPT is very nicely able to do code completion, code corrections, these kinds of things. So we have to consider the factor of job displacements. Ethical consideration are obviously data privacy and security. And transparency is the thing that if you are giving some information to chatbot, it should transparently inform you that you are talking to chatbot and these informations of yours are getting recorded and these are not. So this reduces the potential for misuse if a person is aware that what information they are giving and where the data is being used, then the potential for misuse decreases. So we have to consider these impacts as well. So in conclusion, chatbots have become a huge part of industries. Almost all industries are starting to use chatbots, and the evaluation of large language models are helping chatbots a lot. For example, right now there are multiple models that are available. Not only GPT, there are other models like Llama by Meta. We have Falcon models that is outperforming GPT by a lot. So chatbots will be evolving, and soon there will be a revolutionizing chatbots which will understand all the context, and the current problems will be reduced. Thank you. Mike to you, Sana.
Hi, Priyamvada. Hi, Priyamvada. That was a very insightful presentation on building intelligent chatbots and how to enhance user experience with them. Thank you, Priyamvada. We'll take the questions at the end. All right. All right. So let's call upon the next speakers, Puja Agarwal and Sandeep Kumar Srivastava. Uh, they are software engineer one here at GeekyAnts. Puja is a backend developer and Sandeep is a front-end developer. You can say it's a complete power pack. So yeah, they have built this amazing project called Tonic. So let's hear more about it from them. Give it up. Thank you.
So connect can होगा ना this one or this one.
Presented है.
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
So hi everyone, I'm Puja Agarwal
ठीक.
and I'm a software engineer one here at GeekyAnts.
Hello everyone, my name is Sandeep Kumar Srivastava. I am work at GeekyAnts as a software engineer first, and I'm on. So today we are going to present our project Tectonic based on our OpenAI. Hand over to Puja.
So today we'll be speaking about unleashing the power of AI for personalized tech stack recommendations. And this project we have built using OpenAI's fine-tuning methodology. And today these are our social handles so that we can get connected. moving forward. I'll not start with introduction to ChatGPT or GPT or what it is. So we'll straightforwardly jump to architecture of GPT and how it itself is built. So can anyone tell me the full form of GPT itself? Uh, Actually, it is gener- generative pre-trained transformer. It is a model which was built by OpenAI in 2018, and four models of ChatGPT have been launched till date. GPT-4 has not been officially launched. It has been announced in March 2023. So we have used GPT-3 to build our GPT-3 model, and we have trained it over our data set so that we could make it to perform specific task that we wanted it to perform. So what GPT is a natural language processing language model. So what natural language processing enables GPT with it, like chat GPT or GPT itself can understand human understandable language, that is English. It can understand what you are trying to say, it can manipulate it, and it can provide you response in human understandable form as well. And ChatGPT uses deep learning and transformer architecture. So transformer architecture is heart and soul of GPT itself. It A lot of mathematical techniques and deep learning has been implemented so that it gives accurate results. Since Priyamvada has already explained what supervised learning and unsupervised learning is, so ChatGPT has been trained in semi-supervised mode, not completely in supervised mode or unsupervised mode. So how it was trained is it more than 45 terabytes of data in its initial stage, and that data was collected from Wikipedia, Reddits, and a lot of internet availability. Along with it, some of the literature books were also fed to ChatGPT so that it could understand grammatical composition of English language, and it could also do the sentiment analysis so that it can understand what a particular sentence is trying to say. And after doing this unsupervised learning, it was able to understand English language, but it was still not able to produce human understandable prompts. So for that, the human trainers of GPT implemented supervised training on it so that its accuracy could increase, and it was fine tuned in multiple iterations so that it could also generate response which is human understandable. So it was trained in two stages, as I already said. One is pre-training and another is fine-tuning. So pre-training was in unsupervised mode where it was fed data from internet, and during fine-tuning, the data which was required for increasing its accuracy was fed to it. And ChatGPT has a lot of applications. So what have been built on the top of GPT-3? So first thing is ChatGPT. ChatGPT does not require introduction today because all of us are using it in our day-to-day lives. Whether we are searching for a solution of a bug or we are telling it to write an email for our leave application, we are using it everywhere. And even some of us have integrated ChatGPT extensions in our Stack Overflow so that it helps us to find the bug and find the solution. But not only ChatGPT, a lot of robust systems have already been made on GPT-3, and one of them is Codex. Codex is uh, Codex is powered by GitHub itself, and it is specially trained to provide you solution related to your coding queries, and it can provide you customized solution for all of your bugs. And another one is Delhi that we already talked about, and another one which is one of my favorite is Unschooler. This will help you to search for all of the stuffs that you need when you are researching on a topic or you want to prepare an assignment or anything. So after that, let's understand how ChatGPT was built on the top of GPT-3. ChatGPT's training was also done in two phases. One was pre-training and another was fine-tuning. During pre-training, was uh, it was fed linguistics and the knowledge regarding linguistics and English language so that it could understand what humans are trying to say. Tuning, and for this fine-tuning, we need structured data. How this structured data was produced? So while the engineers were working on building ChatGPT, they found out a lot of flaws which were GPT, and they made a structured data fed to it. So this was reinforcement learning from human feedback. They were trying manually and checking the accuracy of ChatGPT itself, and from that they prepared structured data and they fed that identity to the ChatGPT so that its accuracy could increase. So let's move to next slide. what natural language processing is. Since Priyamvada has told a lot about natural language processing, I'll not speak much about it, but natural language processing is a part of machine learning which focuses on interaction between computer and human language, so that the interaction is so smooth that the machine language model can directly understand what human is trying to say. Along with it, it can provide you the output even in human understandable form itself. Using natural language processing, computer can perform natural language processing, sentiment analysis, voice assistance. We can see a lot of voice assistants while we call for some service in service sector. Suppose you call someone and you want your refund or something, a voice assistant will come, it will talk to you, it will take all your details, and it will cater you similar way a human would do, and you will not even feel that some of your detail was missing or something you did not get. So the best implementation of natural language processing is in voice assistants and chatbots. Let's move forward. So let's see what are differences between supervised learning and unsupervised learning. In supervised learning, we use labeled data. We feed the model with labeled data along with its some additional information. Suppose you are trying to build a machine learning model that can recognize name of the fruit by seeing its picture. You can't directly feed the images of picture to model. How will it know which fruit you are trying to show? So in this case, we are feeding label data to a module, so that you are feeding the picture of apple along with the name of the fruit, so that whenever apple is presented in front of the AI model, it will understand ki ha, this is apple. So in supervised learning, we are feeding labeled data to model, but in unsupervised learning, we are feeding the unlabeled data. In unlabeled data, we are allowing model itself, so that that model can understand the patterns and relationships between the data that has been fed to it. While in supervised learning, we are feeding both input and output to the model, so that it can give the output based on input what it is being fed to it. Supervised learning is said not to be more closer to AI, because in supervised learning we are doing more of data fitting, but in unsupervised learning it is said to be more closer to AI. There are two categories of supervised learning. One is classification and regression, and in unsupervised learning there are two categories: clustering and association. And these clustering and associations are found to be widely in use in data mining as well. We already saw example of supervised learning. So best example of unsupervised learning is a kid who is learning behavior from daily routine. So best example is a kid who used to cry while going to school in nursery class, doesn't cry anymore while he goes to school when he is in third class, because now he has known that is the part of his daily routine and he has to follow it. The kid who did not used to do his homework in class third starts being serious in its studies and starts preparing for board, because now he knows he has to crack the boards and he has no other option. The way kid is improvising himself from his daily routine and learning a lot of stuffs, the same thing model follows when it is under unsupervised learning, and it learns from what feedback it is being provided day to day. Next is reinforcement learning. So let's directly start reinforcement learning with an example. You might have seen a prompt like this when you were using ChatGPT. Suppose ChatGPT generated a response and you don't like it, and you click on regenerate response, and it will show you a prompt like this: was this response better or worst? And you have three options. You can click on better, worse, or same. So suppose you clicked on better, then ChatGPT understand that ChatGPT understands the response that is generated later was better, and now it understands itself, and it adapts a self-teaching system, so that it will generate the better kind of the response that you click better whenever the similar kind of input is triggered. But suppose you click on worst, so it will understand, okay, this model was this the response I generated was incorrect, and I should improvise my response, or I should not generate this kind of response when this kind of input is fed to me. And if you click on same, it will understand कि, okay, I have not done any improvement, and my the difference between both of the responses was not much. So in reinforcement learning, what model does is model is based on maximizing rewards. Model focuses on providing a correct output, or the output which is closer to the correct output. So reinforcement learning is about increasing the productivity or accuracy of model itself. And let's move forward. Okay, so what is fine tuning? Fine tuning is a process of adapting a pre-trained machine learning model to perform specific tasks. So in simple words, fine tuning is a process where you take a pre-trained model similar to GPT-3 and you train it over a data set that you have so that it can perform the activity that you are trying to train it onto. So it adapts a pre-trained model similar to GPT-3 and it adjusts the model's parameter based on the new dataset that you are feeding. Suppose how we use fine tuning is we took the GPT-3, we trained it over our dataset, and then it was able to recommend tech stack to the users who were trying to get information from it. So it saved a lot of time for us because we instead of creating a model from scratch, we directly took GPT-3 and we trained it. So it is, but there is one limitation of fine tuning, that it is effective for tasks with limited labeled data only. It does not work with unlabeled data and it has to follow supervised learning. Another drawback of fine tuning is it requires more computational resources. How we use fine tuning, we fed label data to GPT-3 model and we fine tuned it in multiple iterations, because when we fed it the data for first time, it was generating some random English sentences when we tried to hit, because its accuracy was it was less than 10%, because it was directly generating whatever it got, whatever English sentence was being fetched from it, it was generating. But when we tried to increase the size of our data set, and after 2 to 3 iterations, its productivity increased and it was generating more and more accurate result. So we used this multiple iteration approach and we evaluated its performance using OpenAI's playground, where you can directly go and check how your model is working, pass prompts to them and perform all the testing that you want. Next thing is differences between embedding and fine tuning. Since I told that fine tuning works with supervised learning only, so what is the alternative to it? Can't we train a pre-trained model using unsupervised learning? Yes, we can. So, and another alternative to fine tuning is embedding itself. So, what embedding is? Embedding represents data as vectors in multi-dimensional space, and embedding follows unsupervised learning. So, embedding models are allowed to capture patterns in data similar to the unsupervised learning itself. But there is one another drawback of embedding, that you need to implement separate search techniques, and that search techniques are based on deep learning and mathematical computations, so it is a bit difficult to implement search techniques. But in the case of fine tuning, you are directly following directly following supervised learning, and you are you are directly feeding data to it. So we fed this kind of data to our model. You can see comma separated values. We fed this kind of data to our model and fine tuned it. But what if we didn't have, just a second, what if we didn't have this data? Then we had to use embedding so that we could feed unsupervised data to it. So these are the differences between fine tuning and embedding. And embedding is used where large unlabeled data is present, while fine tuning is used where task specific adaptation is required. Using embedding, you can create sentiment analysis systems or recommendation systems, while fine tuning is more used in question answering type of things. So let's start with introduction to our project, which is Tectonic. So Tectonic is a tech stack recommender. A lot of project managers find it difficult to identify which tech stack they want to use for particular use case. When the deadline is approaching, your developers don't have a particular skill set that you are looking into, and there are numerous technical options available. They find it very difficult to select the best tech stack that they can implement so that they can complete this project building thing faster. So Tectonic simplifies this task. It provides personalized recommendation based on specific needs. It simplifies decision making for project managers. It will take a lot of factors into account. It will ask you what is the size of your team, what is the duration of your project, what is the size of your project, what is the name of your project, along with it what are the skill sets that your developer have, so that it can identify which tech stack it should provide. However, it is already in development mode only, so its accuracy is 60 to 65% as of now. We are trying to implement a reinforcement learning in as well, so that we can also learn from feedbacks that how our model is performing and implement a self teaching system in it, so that its accuracy can also increase. These are the key features of Tectonic. One, we are using fine tuned model so that it can provide you inputs on the basis of what context you provided to it. Another thing is project information, because it collect a lot of information from user, so that they can feed all the data and get a tailored result out of it. Another thing is streamlined output. It will provide one line output to it, output to you, and a very in a very clean form, so that you can directly understand, okay, this tech stack I should use, and this is what I should proceed with, so that I can save a lot and lot of time and resources. Another thing is accuracy. So it has an accuracy of about 65%, and it has an user friendly interface, so that you can easily input your data. And it not only it provides you with tech stack, it also provides you with documentation links, github account, github projects on the same tech stack. Along with it, it might provide you with some Udemy videos that you can refer to, so that you can directly start building your project. And another thing is future proofing. So we have already taken future proofing also in consideration, so that we are trying to implement reinforcement learning in it as well. So here is the tech working of Tectonic, and now Sandeep will take over the stage to show how Tectonic works and explain a bit about it.
Yeah, hello. First of all, we use OpenAI fine tuning for our defining your model system, and second one is like a front end integration. Let me like we have used OpenAI npm package, so where we directly get the API key from the OpenAI and use our in our open model. That's here is our model name, and we have like what the question we are asking, like it is a prompt, and max token equal to 6 means like we have a number of words what we have to receive. Coming back to the slide. We also went 5 turbo integration to get like any other external resources for our which tech stack requirement that has. Let me introduce to the project. So first we have to enter the time duration. Like we have a 3 types of short, medium, or long. Like I have to select short. Next we have a time size. Like what type of screen size you have. So let me select small. Then we have like type your app idea. We can also type. We can also select the suggested one. So we can select like to do. So on the next question, we have like simple question like designing skill. Like we are like our teams know HTML, CSS, and JS. Let me select basic one, and like similarity like any CSS framework like Bootstrap, Chakra, or Material UI. So we can select basic, or do we have any UI UX team with our team? So right on I will select no. Like now we have to select what type of application we have to make, web or app. So for now I select web and click on the next. So we have to select now front end preference, like which technology we know. So I will select front end for React.js as a intermediate, and Next.js like basics, and don't know much about Angular view. So we can choose to the next option. Now we are to select the backend preference. So let me check Node.js as an intermediate, and we don't know about I think any much. Let me select any others intermediate. Now at the last we have to select the what database we want. So I select MongoDB as advanced and MySQL as an intermediate. So wait for some time. Here we our model suggested one stack as a tech stack, and we can also click on the get more information. We get like any other external resource where we can learn these technologies. It takes 40 seconds to load. Here's our GPT-5 Turbo, where we integrate on like as a backend. We directly pass the question, which question we want to ask, and hit the API key, and the response is generated. I think it takes some time. Yeah, here we get all the suggested some YouTube channels or link or Udemy suggested. We can go through and learn this technology. Let me go through the for app application. Let me select now and type size medium. App idea like a e-commerce platform. Designing will like for HTML advanced and CSS when we intermediate. And we suggest app for like app proficiency for front end. We have like technology like React Native, Flutter, Swift, and XML. So select like React Native intermediate and front end basic, Flutter basics. And going to the next page for backend, we have a like same technology for backend. We can select intermediate Node.js and any other technology like Spring Boot basics. Same as for database. Let Postgres we can select basics. We can also type the number of project we have done in MySQL. So let me. So it suggests React Native with Node stack because we have given a higher priority to the Node JS, and we can also get the other resource. Take for teaspoon. Yeah, it suggests like this official React Native documentation and the Stack Overflow community, all these resources where we can go through and learn this technology. Thank you, Kicks. That's all.
Thank you, Puja and Sandeep. That was a really quite an interesting talk, very detailed, in fact. Who's hungry? Are you guys tired already? Okay, so we'll take a quick 20 minutes break and we'll be back by 4:30 for our last talk. All right? Thank you. And we are back again. Uh, let's head into our last talk for the evening. We have Kartik Mandaville. He's the CEO and founder of Springworks. I cannot begin to tell you how amazing his profile is. He comes from a good tech background. He has served as a senior technical advisor, as a CTO as well. And he was also invited to the White House. So, and he's here with us today, and he's going to talk to us about Albus. So, please give it up for him. The stage is yours, Kartik.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. This is Kartik. Can you hear me? So, just quick introduction. Did my master's from Carnegie Mellon Machine Learning back in 2012, 2014. I run this company known as Springworks. We are remote, we bootstrap, we're profitable, around 200 plus people. Been running this for a while. We basically build category defining work culture products. We start with background verification. Now we do employee engagement and employee productivity. So before I get into what's kind of Albus, and obviously it's AI and OpenAI and all of that, right? I think the previous talked about GPT-4 embeddings, fine tuning. So I'll get into all of those details later. But just a quick set of questions. How many of you have joined a company in the last say 2 years? That's it. So say last 5 years, almost every. Okay. Cool. So when you join the company, I'm sure you must have been given a bunch of knowledge-based documents, presentations and whatever internal wikis and all of that to go through, right? So did you actually end up going through all of that, or did you have some questions you wanted to ask an HR or your manager or a peer or someone? How was that process?
It was initially yes. Because there are a lot of things that
Yeah.
you are skeptical about.
Correct.
So I don't think most of them were answered. But yeah, I think all of them were covered by the
Got it. Got it. So what type of questions were these? Like how many leaves do I have? More like HR related, work related.
yeah, for example, if I want to ask me if I can take 8 to 10 leaves at once,
Yeah.
or if there are maybe certain holidays that
Correct.
I can skip off.
Yeah.
These are things I want to ask.
Sure. Yeah, so exactly, those are type of queries, not just new joiners, but even during the work you would have, right? What's the status of this ticket? When did this feature go live? Who's the customer success manager for this, client? How many, customers have paid, us in the last 3 months, right? And I'm sure all of you are working in a company. How many tools do you generally use, like Slack and Teams and Jira and all? Like, do you all generally use more than 5+ tools on a daily basis? Right, so fair to say, right? How do you kind of search across all of them? How do you answer something in natural language? Is what we're trying to do here. So we use GPT-4. We start with GPT-3, 3.5, and then move to 4. So this I've already talked about the different problems we are kind of focusing on. I'll get into a demo, get into the demo after some time. Starting with Slack as the first kind of interface, right? So things like doing a Slack thread summary. You have a thread which has around 100 emails, 100 messages. How do you get a summarization of all that content? How do you build your own company wiki, right? Which is exactly what you mentioned: the leave policy, the handbook, the vacation policy, stuff for that. Different languages, Chinese, English, whatnot, conversational chatbot. So it's not just, one question. You can actually ask clarification questions, right? How does it help? Saves, obviously you time, saves the HR team time, saves the managers, saves the CEOs. And these are just different use cases of how people are using right now, right? So writing code, asking for documentation, writing unit tests, asking for debugging help, writing content, social media posts, emails, whatnot, doing sales, marketing, generation of drip email campaigns, generation of different leads, designing logos, changing, getting a logo from 16 by 16 to 32 by 32, things like that, right? All these typical type of things where it's very repetitive, mundane work, which generally, we end up doing, but now AI or bot can do, right? Different integrations which the bot works with. So this is how we kind of use. Just I'll get into the demo first. Yeah, so you can see my screen. Right? Perfect. So look at this. Let's collapse this. So I asked, how do I reimburse, for vacation? So we have this, given that we are remote, we have a vacation, benefit in our company, which has, you get a certain amount of money to go take a vacation, and you can either work there or, take a vacation from a remote, working policy. So you can ask, Albus, how do I reimburse for vacation, right? So it will actually go through that. It will give you the entire answer in plain, English, and it will tell you where it got the answer from. So that's the other benefit, right? So it will actually give you the source. So if you want to go validate it yourself, you can do that, right? And then you can, go, get fancy, right? So you can say, you can upvote it if you like the answer. You can kind of downvote it, and it will say, I need to go, fix. You can escalate it, to the admin. You can generate any AI answer. Second thing, so we have this policy in our company where if you do a we have like a lunch policy. So if you do a meeting with your team, you can actually get a reimbursement for that food or lunch or whatever, right? So you want a very typical question: how do I get reimbursed for that? I have this bill, how do I get reimbursed, right? So you'll ask Albus. Albus will say to upload the bill, go to this software, go to this handbook. Here you can submit the expenses, right? And then we'll give you the source as well. Same thing, you buying a new software, you want to know the company's GST number, right? You will kind of get the GST number here. So here is the difference, from like a typical, Google search, right? So if you search for what is the GST number, it will actually give you the list of documents, where the number is. It will not give you the answer. So that is what used to happen around 5-6 years ago, and now I think in the last 5 years they've changed slightly towards giving you the answer. Right? You will say, "What's the weather today?" It will actually give you the weather, or it will give you the temperature. But earlier it used to give a link to that website. So what a chatbot generally does is not just gives you the links, but actually goes inside those links and gets the answer. So saves you a step, right? So helps you, for some context, right? How do I write unit tests, right? So obviously there is a lot of information on internet on how do you write a unit test, but we have our own handbook, on how do you write a unit test, right? So again, picks it up from the unit, the handbook. So says it's coming from there. You can click into it. You can kind of open and dive in deeper, or you can just kind of get the information here, right? So it'll tell you first you create a ticket in our ticket management system, ADO, Azure DevOps. Then you kind of mention the methods which you will be kind of testing for, and this is what the unit test should do, stuff like that, right? So we're doing an offsite in Jaipur this year. So like a typical question, where will we go for the alcohol night, right? So it'll say, from the Slack channel, right? So not just a document, right? So we have a Slack channel for offsite Jaipur. It's able to read this information and understand, and then tell you, the location for the alcohol night is Asteria, right? And if you look at this. So here we would have said closed on the algorithm. So was yesterday. So it's able to pick up new information, learns itself. So this is not a. I'll get into the tech behind it, but this is not information which is out there on the internet, right? This is information which is like private to you, things like that. And then you will say, okay, how do I reschedule my flights? So it's smart enough to understand that you're talking about some your trip, the offsite to Jaipur. And then it will say, okay, so this person is asking me something about the offsite in Jaipur and wants to get to know how do I reschedule. And so these are the steps to do that, right? So it's able to kind of tell you that as well. Then yeah, so just typical stuff here. Yeah, other types of questions. Can you capitalize the first letter of first word with CSS? And something you could probably find on Stack Overflow as well, but this is just easier, and you can have a conversation back and forth. You can collaborate with your teammates as well. We have a perk in the office, which is our LSA policy, the lifestyle spending allowance. How do you do that? What is the budget? Things you had as well. So what's the tech behind it? So I think you talked about the two different methods, embeddings versus fine tuning. So we do embeddings right now. So which is first we get all the data from different tools you use, Slack, Google Drive, Notion, whatever it is. Create embeddings for it. Embeddings is nothing but computer readable. How a computer reads basically natural language. So converts words into numbers. Then you chunk it. Chunking is separating, creating different documents or smaller documents of a certain size. That's more from a searching and a context perspective. The current AI models have limited context. They can't, you can't send them like an entire 100-page document, right? Then you put it in a database. So we use a combination of a vector database and an Elasticsearch from a text search and a vector database from a vector embeddings perspective. And then at the time of query, so what you do is again you convert to embeddings. You search inside your database, inside your vector database, inside your text database. You do a re-rank because you want to kind of combine both pieces from your text and your vector, and you do a re-rank with it. So we use Cohere for re-ranking. There are other models as well. And then you do an answer with GPT-4, OpenAI, and then finally you send it to an evaluator to see is this answer even correct, is this answer from the right context, stuff like that. So that's how it kind of works at a very high level. We built some other tools as well. So kind of 1v1, we've done some Chrome extensions, we've done a leave policy generator, we've done an analyze your documents as well. I can kind of show you stuff like this. So let's try for free. Let me see if I have a good document. And it doesn't work all the time, right? So that's the reality of AI. It's not 100%. It works, it works maybe 10 out of, as in 8 out of 10 times as of now. So let's see if it works. I'm doing a live demo, so things don't really go well on a live demo, but let's see how this works. So I've uploaded an agreement, which is with a customer. Right? So I'll say who's the customer here? What's the pricing? Right. So this is like a 5-page or whatever, actually more than a 5-page, 8-page document, right? So if I open this here, it's around 141 KB, so not much, but it's a 12-page document. Right? It's a typical contract, right? It can be your lease, it can be your resume, it can be anything. And then you can just ask, right? The customer in this context is Spring Roll, what's the pricing? So it's able to find the pricing from this long document, give you the pricing here. It says at 200 questions per month, per license, it's around $1950 per year. Any additional licenses, so it's not just tells you the pricing, but actually gives you some extra information as well, right? It also tells you if there is a payment through a credit card, what's the charge. So what's my what's my liability, right? A typical contract, you will have this type of question. So here in this case, it's a as per the given context. So if I would have to search here, I would probably do this, right? And then it will tell me, limitation of liability. It's 3 months preceding the liability event, right? So very similar. It's able to pull up that detail as well. Then let's see, where is the jurisdiction? If there is an issue, which court has the jurisdiction? So if I do the same search on my PDF directly, I'll probably search here and then I'll get very similar answer. But here it will actually, yeah, it said San Francisco. So it's got to a level deeper than San Francisco here, because somewhere sorry, than California, right? In the search it came to California, but somewhere else I'm sure San Francisco would have been mentioned. Let's just check. Yeah, so it's here. And then yeah, so based on the clients, the company's cities, it's able to bring that up, right? Yeah, it's actually here. So you saw, right? So that's the advantage of having a search. If I do a direct search, I may not get the answer. I will still have to go through the document to get the answer myself. But here, it's able to go through the entire document, find all the places where the word jurisdiction or similar words have come up. So actually, this is an interesting example. So I asked for, if there is an issue, which court has the jurisdiction. The word jurisdiction is not even in this paragraph, right? So the text is not even there. Even then, it's able to tell us the answer. And how is it's doing is, that's the nature of, that's the beauty of embedding. So because embeddings is actually finding similar words, right? So like a cat and a dog will have very similar embeddings, even though they're not the same word, right? So that's a very typical benefit of having AI, and the entire point of having embeddings. Any other, any questions, any examples you would like me to ask here? Anyone has? No? Perfect. So I can do some more. So let's see. How many casual leaves do I get in a year, right? Let's ask a few more. What if I get sick um, on a Monday? How do I apply for a sick leave without notice, right? Do I need to, let's make it more complex, do I need to give a reason to apply for a sick leave? Yeah, so I guess casual did not bring the answer, so it's not always accurate. So let's see if this one works. This is slightly more complex, because I don't think our handbook says the word sick leave. We use the word personal time off, but it's able to get that answer as well. Yeah, so it says, according to the leave policy mentioned in source 1, which is this, if you want to apply for sick leave, you can apply it on the same day whenever you want. There's no mention of needing to provide a reason for sick leave. However, it's good practice. So it's not just tells you that it's not required, but goes a step further and says it's a good practice to inform your manager about your situation. And you can apply for the leave in KK as mentioned in source 3. So if I click here, it's actually able to get to that source. So it's get to that exact Slack message, in this case Slack, but in other cases could be a document, could be a page, could be an image, right? So it's able to get to that exact place, and tell you where it's coming from. Yeah, that's pretty much from my side. Any questions? Yeah. What about? Yeah, so we don't work with Discord as of now, but there are similar bots. But that's basically a connector. So right now we have. I'll just show you. That the connectors is the trivial part. The more the harder part is your the AI piece. So we have Slack, Jira, Google, Wikipedia, websites, Notions, Confluence, stuff like that. Discord maybe at some point. Yeah. Yep. So if you can see here, so it connected with my Google Drive. It's able to bring my handbook, our policy, our lifestyle spending account, our Jelly Bean, whatever handbook, right? So all of these things it's able to bring up. I'll click on this. It shows all the different files I have in my drive as well. Once it loads, yeah. So everything, all the different products we have, all the leave policies, the documents, all of that stuff. Hmm? Yeah, so data privacy is obviously a very important thing in the AI world. I personally feel it's still very early, right? So technically, like we have done SOC 2, ISO, things like that, but all the data is sent to OpenAI. They don't use it for training. That's what they say. It's deleted within 30 days. But like this is still very early stages, right? So I think over time, my bet is in 6 months, a year, whatever, right? We will have open source models which will be at the similar quality, which you could deploy in your own cloud, right? Either Azure or AWS, whatever it is. So the data never actually leaves. So I think that's a solved problem. It's just we have to get there. Right now, it's cost prohibitive in terms of GPUs and the technology and all. But at some point, someone will launch this, right? And right now we have Amazon, Google, Facebook, what do you call it, OpenAI, all fighting for the same thing, right? You can see like AI is at a place where it's not improving in years; it's improving in months, right? It's in maybe sometimes actually days as well. So all of these things will get solved. I think all of these problems are very valid. Quality is not there. Sometimes it will give you wrong answers. It will hallucinate, right? So that's why we have the evaluation layer. So those things are very common. So which is why I think anyone who builds an AI based app has to make sure the guardrails are there, which is in terms of the quality. There is moderation, because you can ask, how do I, how do I build a bomb, right? And obviously, you can do that on OpenAI's website. But if your app allows for that, you get banned from everywhere, right? So you have to build a moderation layer, you have to build an hallucination layer, you have to build a feedback layer, you have to build a escalation layer, all of those things. So same thing, we have the feedback layer here, so it's able to learn on its own. Yes, yes. So we use the OpenAI moderation API, and and they've actually given it for free now. Yeah. Which one? Yes, yes, yeah. No, but it's still sent to OpenAI for training. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it is still sent because they are the best as of now in terms of LLMs. But they delete the data, so we have a signed agreement with them, so where they say that they delete the data and it's not used and all. But they need to, you have to still send it to them. That is, we use Pinecone, a database, but that you can do anywhere, right? You can technically even spin up your own Elasticsearch, cluster in your AWS, or even people have even done it in a MySQL database now, right? So nice, nice, yes, yeah. So a lot of I think solutions are there. Obviously, vector databases have gotten famous for this, but there are other solutions, right? So we also started with like a vector database with Pinecone, but then very quickly we realized the text search had better results. So right now we do a text search with BM 2.5, and then vector DB search, and then combine it, because that is giving much better results. Vector has limitations in sometimes the exact word will not be there, right? And so then it works very well. But sometimes you want the text search as well. So there was an example. Let me actually show you with. Let's see if my Twitter comes up. Very interesting example. Do we have time? Okay. Um, So I'll show you this tweet we had done yesterday. So we had this problem where someone was trying to search. I need the designs of cost saving scenarios, and they were like, this was a client with us, and they were like, this is AI. Why is it not able to answer? Right? Like you should be able to answer. This is GPT-4, the best AI model, right? But the embedding models were not able to understand the keyword like Figma. The Figma word was there in different context, was not always there. So then we ended up doing semantic search, which is the vector DB search, was not enough, right? Then so this is a good example. I want berry picking in the forest, I want strawberry picking in the jungle. These two sentences are semantically exactly, as in very similar, but they're not actually same, right? So so if you were to ask, what did you pick in the forest, right? Or where did you pick berries? So you would you would want to focus more on the word keyword strawberry in jungle, right? And then we ended up building the hybrid search, which is the keyword search with Elasticsearch. We use TypeSense, which is a flavor of Elasticsearch, but there are so many more. And then we were able to get this result. Yeah, same thing, splitting in chunks. That is just to save the searching time basically. The, most relevant. So there is, that's why there is a we use this LLM model, cohere rank. It's pretty interesting. It it's similar. It's a competition to OpenAI now, which, so you kind of send multiple chunks to it, right? And you can send up to 100 at the same cost, and it will re-rank. And you can say, stack rank it based on the most relevant. So you pick the top three, top four, top five, and then you send it to OpenAI for answer. And now OpenAI is also increasing the context, right? 3.5 has 16K, GPT-4 has 32K, right? So that is, yeah. So we have it, but I'm very sure, I'm so, everyone will get it, right? It will only increase. Obviously, increases your cost of answering, but the way to compare that is, is it cheaper than asking a human being? It's always right. That's where it makes sense. So we were spending almost $400 on OpenAI a day, right? So we've kind of got that cost down, but we've been able to see that value across the different people and all. So some of these things work very well. There's a lot of material online, obviously, around this. There's many frameworks and stuff like that. Perfect. Any other questions? Yeah. 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 Sure. So inside a company, there is these customers, training and all, right? So yeah, all of these things are there. I think outside of a company is just being more productive, like coding. That is a very good use case. Like everyone in our company has access to GitHub Copilot. Like you can see, even if it saves you 15-20 minutes a day, it's enough, right? Like, pays for itself, right? Then you have things like research, right? So I'll show you. I was today doing some. I'm going to Mysore with my family, with my kid as well. I was doing some research on like where do I go? What are the kid-friendly places? How do I book a buggy and stuff like that, right? And yeah, I don't know where is that, but I'll show you this one. So we are trying to hire a new customer service person, customer success person. So we're like, okay, I have never hired a person this senior. What should be the compensation structure? What should be the incentive structure, right? So first I asked this. So it did a very basic standard answer, right? Like base salary, variable compensation, all that stuff, which I also know, right? This doesn't, don't give me this gyan, right? Like then like, okay, do some benchmarking, then it actually did a web search. So it went to two different articles, got read the content, finished browsing, and then told me a good variable compensation is 20 to 30%. So that is information I would want if I had to do it myself, right? So first I will get this text keyword myself, right? Then I will see this link. This is Bing. Obviously they use Bing. So I would click on the first link, and then somewhere I'll have to search, right? Variable pay, and then search multiple times until I get that 30% word, right? So that's the benefit. So I think in terms of research, in terms of ideation, very helpful. So we've been doing, we're trying a new product, right? Are there more names like Dobby from the Harry Potter franchisee? Which, so just ideation strategy. I think these type of things are very very useful. Benchmark with, yeah. No, so now with the web browsing, it's literally latest information, right? So it does a Google search, it does a Bing search. So in this case, if you see, it did a Bing search, right? Like here, so it did a search on the internet, on the live internet. So that's the benefit, right? So it's no longer that it's at a cutoff date. Yeah, it's live. Yes, yes. So I'll show you a fun thing. IPL. I don't know if I have. Let's just try something new and let's see if it works now. So who scored the most runs in the IPL final, right? And I'll do the same search on Google. Yeah. So I did the search here. So it's Here I didn't get any real result, and here it gave me the result. I don't know if it's correct, but that's the benefit, right? Yeah, you had some question.
Yeah. So, for example, let's say if I'm using Albus for a very long time,
Hmm.
then certain policies are updated.
Correct.
So, how do I observe these policies, or how do I make sure that these policies are not reflected when someone is searching for it?
Correct. So there is something known as a recency filter. So things like metrics or policies. There is a recency filter. So you can say sort by date or by edits, right? Retrain every day, every other day, or you can even do things like give me the most recent policy. So it's automatically able to tell you that. So that's the it's so here in this case, like in our policy we would have it, there is a managed retrain thing, so you can kind of have it retrain every day, right? So you can kind of do that. If not, you can actually do from a recency perspective as well. If not a policy, but like say there is a metric in your company, right? So today was 100 users, tomorrow it was 200 users, day after 300 users, and you're asking how many users do I have. You don't want to get know the 100 users, right? You want to know 300. So it's able to, with the date, it's able to tell you that.
But I mean, if it's a let's say, whether or bigger at certain period of time.
Yeah.
So I don't really find it. I don't really remember that I had
Hmm.
this policy or this certain amount.
Yeah.
After a certain maybe 4 years, someone searched for the
Yeah.
policy and it did not pass.
Sure.
So I mean, how could I actually do this?
So you're saying it's a outdated policy which was somewhere there, right? So in that case, it may still come up, but if there is a recency thing, it will actually prefer the most recent policy. But the old policy will, if there is no updated policy for that old, whatever, say casual leaves, for example, that will still come up. And then someone, that's where the human intervention comes, right? So in our case, you would do like a, downward, like say this casual leaves, right? Did not pick up the answer, so I'll do a downward, and then I will, say ask admin for help. So that's where there are many edge cases like this which are which AI does not do it simple. Right? So there are, and that's where the fine tuning and those type of things comes up over time.
Are you building this for other than outside the company, for example, other like customers of ours?
Yep. Yes, yes, yeah. So both things, yeah. So internal employees, external, customers, stuff for that. So chatbots and customer service chatbots and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? Any? Yeah, we are Harry Potter fans. Everything we do is Albus. Dumbledore. Yeah. Yeah, so we are very LLM agnostic. I don't really care if it's OpenAI and Facebook or whatever, right? So we'll use the best one. That's just that's why we built with OpenAI, because it's as of now the best quality and the best priced, easier to go live and all of those things. But I think over time, I don't know who will win. So it's not my place to say or predict. But I'm sure there'll be so many of these. Yeah, so I think it's just a matter of whoever has the most resources, technology, stuff like that. Correct. So we've looked at the Facebook model there, the Llama one, and then Azure has a service now, Azure OpenAI has a service, and I think there are some more. AWS has launched this, forgot the name, whatever generative AI something. No, they have a different one for the chat completion as well. And Google also has something now. Yeah, look, there is an enterprise bar as well. Yeah, it is there. So I think everyone will have. It's just natural, every single company will probably end up having. Right now, the risk of data going is not too much. Obviously, if you're a 10,000% company, I'm sure the risk is much higher. But at 100, 200%, 500% company, the risk is not that much. It's, yeah. It's all internal data though. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kartik. That was quite an interesting talk, and I think a lot of us would want to start using Albus now. Okay, so we have a panel discussion right now. It will be consisting of Kartik and our keynote speaker Gaurabh. So, yes, just wait for another 30 minutes. Thank you.
I guess Sanket. Mike. Cool. I have a couple of questions along with me, which people have shared, specific to AI. Um, I have my own opinion on this, and I would also like to hear Kartik's opinion and all of yours as well. I have I mean, made tick marks on a couple of them, which I believe I can answer to. Others, if you guys can, or maybe he can, please feel free to do that. So the first question was bias in AI. How can we mitigate bias in AI systems, respect to race, gender, and other sensitive attributes?
Sure. Um, yeah, I don't think I'm at all to be able to answer. I think there's a lot of interesting things happening around OpenAI and um, Anthropic and some other companies about this. I think they're trying to ground not just for bias but also for hallucination and all. But I personally, I don't think I really understand the intricacies of how these things work. So I would
I get
probably
it.
want to skip that.
So,
Anyone who wants to answer that?
you want me to repeat the question? I can do that. Or if you guys can, if you guys want to answer to this, please go ahead. Feel free. Anybody? No? Great. Great. So only I asked my DJ.
Yeah, the question was, how do you remove the bias in AI? So how do you make sure it does not discriminate against race, gender, um, and then
Other sensitive attributes.
other sensitive attributes?
It's trained with more data. It's like the reason it has biases because it's trained more towards one data compared to other. So we can just try to add more data from the language.
Yeah.
I mean, during the initial days when I was going through one of the documentation, the problem that happened was the data from where these guys were buying it. Uh, let's say if they are searching for Asian, so the data which was fetched was pornographic, which was irrelevant. So those things has happened. So it's about the quality of data again. Uh, that's the basic thing which has to be taken care of. If we don't have that thing itself, even if there is bias in that itself, then you'll get that kind of responses, right? All right. Next question: AI and job displacement. What impact will AI have on the future of work, and how can we ensure a smooth transition for those whose jobs are at risk of uh, automation?
Yeah, I think this is and this has been answered by Sam and other folks in the AI space multiple times. I think it's a way of upskilling. It's a way of learning new technologies and just being always constantly trying to be at the forefront of technology. I think AI may make some roles redundant, especially like say data entry and QC validation stuff for that. But there'll be new roles which will come up, right? So I think it's just one of those things. Net, I don't know how it kind of works out, what's the adoption curve and things like that. But as with like, technology just moves so fast that we just have to always be at the forefront of technology.
Exactly. I also, I guess, said the same thing. This is doing. This is making our job in a better way, and we are being more productive on a day-to-day basis compared to what we were when there was no open AI and ChatGPT. Anyone has any opinion on that? I hope this time you guys would have heard what I said. Shall we move on? Okay. Uh, Privacy and data protection, okay, should be taken to safeguard individual privacy and personal data in the era of AI.
Now there are actually some libraries which scrub out the data before sending out to public sources. I forgot the exact name. We use one of these which takes out say names or credit card information or social security numbers or Aadhaar numbers and things like that. So I think those type of things are actually possible, especially in today's world when you want to either fine tune embeddings or something. Privacy in the existing LLM, that's a different story because LLMs right now are at least the closed source LLMs are a black box.
Correct.
Right? So you have no idea what it was trained on, what privacy does it have. So I think that's going to be a very separate story. But at least from an application of AI, you are able to safeguard, from a sensitive data perspective.
I had another opinion to it. I saw a video on Vice, I believe, Vice channel. Um, People showed the amount of uh, this data phishing and the scams has increased after AI coming into picture, because you can also ask GPT how do you know do the other way around, as in how do you decode this or how do you get into somebody's account and do that, and people are making use of it. uh, so there was a drastic rise, and then after that, I guess past 2 or 3 weeks before, they have implemented this checks wherein if at all there are some words or I mean faces which is unethical, it will stop answering to that.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So it's still, I'm not sure how good it is, till how which extent. Anybody wants to answer to this?
So you talk about the libraries which helps promote the information.
Yeah.
Do they ever use an AI?
I didn't understand. Sorry. Can you repeat?
You told that you can send some private data. We use some libraries which comes from the government.
Correct.
Again, do we use the AI again to promote this?
Oh, I see. No, you can run those libraries locally. Yeah. Yeah. They don't actually talk to the internet, so still better.
Is that are you aware of anything?
The libraries for this, yeah, I forgot the name, but I'll just reach out to me. I'll get you the name. We use something for this. There are many, actually. If you search online as well, you should be able to find. There are many Python packages, and so that they may not be perfect, but there are.
There are definitely libraries or AIs which look whatever data is there and can tell or predict whether it's generated by AI. That's there. I have used it, so I'm telling you. AI and healthcare. What role can AI play in improving healthcare outcome, and what challenges needs to be addressed in its adoption?
Yeah, I think challenges is obviously the accuracy hallucination is a big challenge, because there you can't. The risk of going wrong is very high,
Exactly.
right? Like in the workplace search case, Albus case, like the risk of going wrong is, maybe you say someone asks, how many leaves do I have? Bot says 7 versus 5, right? So it's not that high compared to giving wrong medication or stuff like that. But I think there are more simple use cases like transcribing doctor notes,
Correct.
turning into a prescription, maybe helping you order, remembering when to take when, what is it, what's the decomposition of a medicine, right? I've always, like when we go to a hospital, I've always, seen like they will ask, do you have any allergies, right?
Right.
And you will probably say, okay, this. And how many times are actually people reading that and giving relevant medication? Very few, right? So,
Correct.
so if because it's not very easy to know every single composition of every single medicine, compare with the allergies, whatnot, right? So, can you connect it somehow? Can you automatically, say, okay, these things should not be given because of so and so ingredients, stuff like that. So I think that's not completely AI, but there is some flavors of AI there.
I have also seen this. I guess couple of companies are also there who
Yeah,
who does that. Even for your blood checkup when you do it, so all the parameters that comes up, they also suggest these are the type of food you should be eating. This should not be eaten, and how do you take care of it? You guys want to answer to this? Anyone? I'm sorry if it's feeling boring, sort of, for you all. I don't want to make it, but if you guys want to ask questions, please feel free to do that as well. If you are not asking, I'm going to be asking then. There's no other option.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe we can ask, go through the questions and only pick up the questions which are relevant.
Yes, sure. Uh, AI in autonomous systems. How can we ensure the safe, ethical driving cars, drones, or robotics?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a very loaded question again. I do not have expertise in that at all.
I don't know why I ticked this. I guess I ticked it because of drones and currently the war which is going on, Ukraine, Russia, and that's where drone is being used mostly. Uh, I'll just move on to the next question. AI and autonomous weapons. Oh my god, insane. AI and human consciousness. Oh my. To what extent can AI system develop consciousness or exhibit human-like intelligence, and what are the physiological implications of such advancements?
Yeah, I think that's again similar to the AGI stuff. It all feels like a movie to me. But so, and there's obviously lots of talks on this topic. Are we close to AGI? And then a lot of people say we are. A lot of people say we are not. So very very hard to really say. Like ChatGPT obviously was. And this was not new, but one of the cases where you were able to see, oh no, we are getting closer to AGI. We're having a conversation, not a search.
I mean, in a movie, I guess, Mother was the name, wherein a baby is born inside a spaceship,
Becomes a mother.
yes. So they don't have the emotion. They have one goal, which is
Yeah.
on or off.
Yeah.
That's where I guess human consciousness comes into picture.
Yeah. Correct. Correct.
Right. So I had these many questions only. If you want to take any other questions, you can please.
No, that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with the recent developments in AI now, for example, if previously I had, let's say, issue in programming or if there are certain things, I would search for a solution maybe developer.
Correct.
With the introduction of AI to our life now, do we think the innovations that will happen will come to a standstill or will it take a huge step?
Innovations around which space?
I mean, in any space, for example, if I consider programming,
Yeah.
previously, if maybe there were some certain problems in the
Correct.
way programming was done.
Sure.
We created frameworks.
Yeah.
Now, since AI has came into, do we think there would be a limitation, or would there be a standstill on these things? Okay.
No, I think new frameworks will definitely come up, right? Like we've already seen that with LangChain and Llama Index and all of these, things which have come up, right? Because at the end of the day, even using AI is programming, right? So AI applications, building AI, all of this is programming. So you would have rise of new frameworks, and these frameworks will give rise to new, problems, and then we will have frameworks for that as well, right? So I think technology helps innovate technology itself, right? That's the beauty of. That's why it's so much fun, and every few months is so frequently as well. Like these Llama Index, which is a Python that was not even existent like 6 7 months ago. It's crazy how quickly it has come up and grown and robust and all that. And that will have other libraries and frameworks which will come up.
Like cycle of AI, Meetup has all the things around it, as in everything that will be evolving around AI.
No, I think you will always have large scale data, processing challenge. You will always have large scale data, cleaning challenges. You will have, typical DevOps things. So those processes, frameworks will always be there. Like we as an AI is not at a place where you say, okay, fire my team of hundreds and you are the bot. Right? That's just not the case. I think one very good thing is like the best developers are becoming better.
Exactly.
The best content marketers are getting better, but it's not that it's actually replacing them. So it's like you all these super cool demos which you see on Twitter, right? Write a file 5-line description and you get a website. Those don't work, right? Like, they are just basics things. Like you have to always, you have to still get to the level of developing. It's just how quickly we embrace these technologies, we only get better.
I mean, good work brings good work is what I believe. So, yeah, with respect to the same thing that you just now mentioned about, with one word or 5 words, you can generate a website. I was trying out a couple of days before also, and there is a model I'm not sure if you guys have used. That's called as AGI, Super AGI, I guess. Uh, so you can create agents for yourself. One of which can be a, let's say, developer, another can be a QA, and then moderator who's going to be talking to each one of them, taking the right decisions, and then building the code for you, and dumping the code into a particular folder, which actually works. So I could generate a Ludo game. I was trying my best. Uh, the example which was given over there was a snake, uh, that Nokia wala snake game, if you have played it. But yeah, again, that has a lot of limitations, and then over the period of time, I guess even that will improve. Uh, that doesn't replace the people. Even today, people are playing 8-bit games. Right, any other questions? I guess that's pretty much for the day. You want to take it over?